President Cyril Ramaphosa has called on government officials to speed up service delivery. He's launching a pilot project in the Eastern Cape today. Khawuleza, which means move with speed, is a model that government hopes will improve service delivery around the country. But will it yield actual results? To talk to us about this, we're joined now via our Skype line by local government expert Paul Berkowitz. Mr. Berkowitz, thanks very much for your time. I understand that this is a pilot project, but something similar was launched back in 2014 under a different name, under Bakisa. Before we get into the pilot project now named Khawuleza, what were some of these successes or failures under Bakisa?
Sure. It's not very clear what successes or failures could be linked directly to Bakisa. We know that the trend over the past few years has been there's been poor intergovernmental relations, most notably between municipal and provincial government. There have been an increase in service delivery failures and concomitant service delivery protests. By all measures of service delivery measures, and we haven't seen many successes that we could point to, let alone link directly to Bakisa.
So the President's saying that this new district-based coordination model will help us to stop operating in silos. Perhaps talk to us about the Eastern Cape as a province and how that relates to service delivery, and I suppose a very closely related issue to corruption when it comes to municipalities.
Well, if we go back even to the beginning, to 94 and onwards, the Eastern Cape had suffered from decades of underinvestment and underdevelopment, particularly in the former homeland areas of Transkei and Ciskei. And if you look at the municipalities that map geospatially onto those areas, they've got some of the worst service delivery stats in the country, particularly in areas like water, sanitation, and electricity service delivery. If you go to the provincial level, the Eastern Cape is one of the worst performing municipalities when it comes to basic education, which is also partly a legacy of underdevelopment under apartheid, but there hasn't been much improvement over the last 25 years. And as you've pointed out, the province, unfortunately, at the provincial level and the respective municipalities, even the metros of Buffalo City and Nelson Mandela Bay, have been plagued by widespread corruption and underdevelopment.
Just from what I can gauge around this information that we have around Operation Khawuleza, there's a plan that's in place that hopefully, according to the President, will be rolled out, sort of a very one-dimensional plan, hopefully, that can be applied to all of the different provinces around the country. But is that perhaps a mistake, given that, yes, there might be similarities between the challenges in our different provinces, but they're also very, very different?
That is a risk. It seems from the plan, but we haven't seen many of the details, just the announcement of the press conference today and some of the background, that the approach hopefully won't be one size fits all, but that there'll be certain ground rules and there'll be certain processes in place that will be universal. So what the plan is emphasizing and prioritizing is, as you said, to move out of silos for all the respective departments and different spheres of government to be working closely together and to solve problems spatially, meaning that if there's a problem of, let's say, local economic development in the Amatole district, then that will be prioritized by the municipalities in the district, by the district itself, by the province, and that all plans will be coordinated. But the challenge of intergovernmental relations has been around for decades. Yeah. And although we've heard over the last 10 years that it's been prioritized and reprioritized, as we've said before, we still have to see the results of this reprioritization.
Yeah, and I mean, a new name is not necessarily going to give us those results. We're going to need some real changes on paper.
100%. Changing the name, essentially, as one of your colleagues has said, Khawuleza is in isiZulu what Bakisa is in Sesotho. It means to accelerate or to move faster. So yeah, a new coat of paint doesn't necessarily mean that the building itself is any better or any safer. And unfortunately, there's not much that can be said at this moment, except that we need to wait and see where the results will be born. And maybe it's encouraging that we're starting with pilot sites so that government can iron out any teething problems and see how things work in practical terms before it rolls out Operation Khawuleza to the rest of the country.
Yeah, and we're hoping to get some more clarity from the President himself. He's launching that operation at around 12 this afternoon. Thanks very much for your input on this topic. Local government expert Paul Berkowitz joining us there via our Skype line.